Yo, what is up guys? Andy Lee from Martial Club. Recently we put up a fight scene on YouTube, and it's a re-edit of one of our older short films called Supreme Art of War. For those of you who've been following us for a while, you guys know exactly which one we're talking about. And we did a re-edited version of the restaurant fight, the big fight, and we uploaded the fight alone. Why do we do that? For us as growing artists, it's often that we look back at our body of work. We look at it like, damn, we totally could have done this better, could have done this better, could have shot this better. Being Martial Club, we're not the type to just sit down and just wish we could have made it better. We actually took matters into our own hands, and we re-edited to make it better. Because in this case, Supreme Art of War, in that fight, we look back at it, we're like, the editing could have been a lot better. So that's what we did. So due to high demand, a lot of you guys have been asking for us to give you guys a breakdown of exactly what we did to make it better. I'm gonna try my best to do that for you guys today. Of course, I'm not gonna go over every single little detail, because if I do that, it's gonna take hours. So I'm just gonna give you guys just a brief breakdown of the general parts that we did different in the second cut to make it better. So I got my laptop here, and I'm gonna go over the scenes real quick. Oh, first of all, I want to make something one very important point. Being a good martial artist, being a good performer in itself does not make you a good martial arts action filmmaker, okay? Action filmmaking is a whole, think of it as like a whole different martial arts in itself, okay? You could take the best martial arts performer, put him in front of the screen, but if you don't know how to shoot it right, you don't know how to action design, you don't know how to execute, and you can't edit right, that's going to be a big problem. And to be honest, if you don't know how to do any of that, you can put the best martial arts performer in front of the screen and the whole thing's going to look like crap. So it's very important that the filmmaking process is very important. The shooting process is very important. Action design is very important. And one of the most important, I feel, is the importance of editing. You have to know how to edit, okay? And all this just really comes with experience. So the importance of editing, very important, okay? First thing, and this is probably the main thing that I really wanted to fix in the fight, is the pacing, okay? So the pacing in the fight before was very slow. Some of the shots I let drag too long, and I gave the audience too long of a break. And at the time, I didn't know that. You know, I was just like, all right, I got the shots, I cut it together, and there were some moments I just left it in the shots because I didn't know any better. But you know, now with time that we grow, I look back and I'm like, this cut should have been a lot faster. And with that being said, the action, now when you watch it, the pacing feels a lot faster, right? If you guys watch any of our short films, recently we've been experimenting more with a bit of faster pacing. We like to tell the story through the fight scene, but at the same time, we like to give the audience time to breathe, but very little time to breathe, because we like to overload them with action. And I noticed that's kind of a trope you can see in Hong Kong action. The pacing is very fast. The pacing of the fight is very important, and you could manipulate all of that with editing. So if you guys go back and rewatch it, you will see it. You guys will also notice I took out a lot of the parts. At the time, I thought that it would sell on camera as a comedic moment, but really all it did was ruin the pacing. So, for example, if you guys watch the original cut, there's the part where Brian and Julio stands up to the frame, and Julio steps forward, Brian stops him, and I was like, watch me. And then Brian looks, and then he starts to walk forward. So what happened was, in that shot, Brian took too long to walk forward. It took too long to look, and he took too long to walk forward. And by the time he gets kicked in the face, I felt like the rhythm of the fight was thrown off already, because the shot was just too long. So what I did was I took out the whole part where he's just, stop, watch me. I took out that whole part, and I just cut straight to the kick. Bam! So that's one example. Another example is the part where I climb over the table to AJ And in the original cut, what I did was I took the time to look at him, look at my fist, like, oh, like I could totally hit him right now. That took too long as well. So in this new cut, I just totally took that whole part out. AJ looks up, I punch him in the face, and it sold. The comedy sold just as much, and it was just happened a lot faster. It did not kill the pacing of the fight. Another part was before I smashed Brian in the foot with the broomstick. In the original cut, I stand up in the shot, Brian's over the shoulder, Brian's like, hey! I look back and he runs after me. I took out that shot. We were just able to sell that moment just as well. We got Robot's fall, where Brian grabs Robot and tosses him. What I did there was I sped up his fall. And honestly, speed ramping, it depends up to the person. For some people, it's kind of an ego thing, I feel like, but some people want to keep the real speed. For me, I believe that when you're shooting a film, you're shooting a film. You want to do everything you can in your power to make it the best film that you can. So the end product, even if you have to speed ramp some of the parts, feel free to do it, because at the end of the day, you are making a film. We're trying to tell a story through filmmaking. We're not here to exactly just show off our skills. If you guys want to see us really show off our skills, you guys can go follow us on Instagram. And so for Robot's part where he gets tossed onto the table, I sped up just the fall, and the reason why I did that was because the fall before worked. It worked just fine, but when you speed it up, it increases the impact of the throw. It's like, it makes it look like he got whipped over onto the table more than just floating over. So it just shows kind of illustrates the ferocity that Brian had when he's freaking throwing a Robot over his shoulder and sends him back flipping onto the table. One more thing I want to say about speed ramping is if you watched any of the Hong Kong movies back in the 80s, everyone speed ramped. Everyone shot at a lower frame rate. So speed ramping, like I said, I believe just do whatever you need to do, even if you have to speed ramp a little bit, to make the best product that you can. Okay, so with that being said, I feel like I might have gone through everything already. So just the main points is, the main point really is the pacing of the fight. You figure out every little detail you can to cut the fight together so the pacing is a lot faster. Just overload the audience with action. Give him time to breathe, but give him little time to breathe, because that's when you give him a heart attack like that, you know? I cut out a lot of the comedic moments that I thought would work before. I cut it off simply for the sake of saving the pace of the fight and the comedic timing as well. Also, speeding up Robot's fall to make it a little more ferocious. Okay, so speed ramping. With that being said, I think I gave you guys generally the main points. Hope you guys learned a lot from this. But mainly, if you guys really just want to do this and learn, one thing I would like to make clear is you could be the best martial arts performer, you could be the best on-screen fighter, best stuntman, whatever. If you don't know how to action design, you don't know how to shoot, you don't know how to execute, you don't know how to edit, you don't know anything about post-production, you're not going to have a good action sequence, okay? So I also want to make that clear. The importance of editing, very, very important, okay? And if you guys really want to learn, I highly suggest go out with a camera, 2 friends, 1 camera guy. That's all it takes. Go shoot a test fight. Just practice and edit it together, and you will learn a lot. It's really, it just comes with experience, okay? So that's my biggest takeaway for you guys. The importance of the filmmaking process. Okay? So with that being said, please subscribe. We have a lot of videos coming out this week. A lot of announcements. 2019 is going to be crazy. We have a lot of short films shot. And once we start shooting our feature, we're just going to release them. We have a lot of good content coming up for you guys. And sorry for keeping you guys waiting. It's going to be worth it, okay? With that being said, don't forget to follow us on Instagram like us on Facebook, subscribe, hit that notification button, okay? We are dropping a line of Marshall Club merch coming up, and we're making a very big announcement this week, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And yes, I think I've covered everything today. Marshall Club out!